Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to another Sit Back Sunday vlog. I'm Alan Hain, the Lawn Care Nut. Welcome. It's kind of a dreary, overcast day, a little bit like what you guys have up north. We've had it that way for the last couple 2-3 days, but you know, we'll get through it. I do have some sunshine in this video for you. I have a little bit of maintenance to do right now, a little edging, a little trimming, a little blowing, a little mowing. I'm gonna do that. And while I'm doing that, I figured I'd give you guys a little bit of soil testing information. I was actually out at the land earlier this week testing my soil out there because we gotta know what we're up against coming up over the next, couple 10, 20 years so for there. And so I'll go ahead and do that, send you out there, talk a little bit about soil testing, and then I'll see you back here in a few minutes. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and get a soil sample before I get my sod in. The sod will be here in about 6 weeks or so. So I need to get my soil sample now. I mean, you can see this soil, this is sandy soil right here. This is Florida soil. I mean, Navy SEALs could train in this soil. Who's gonna carry the boats?
I watched you become a man.
Sorry, wrong Goggins. So, typically when you take a soil sample, you wanna get a little bit of soil from all around your property, but I mean, this is all pretty much the same out here. I mean, we'll get a little from everywhere just for consistency's sake, but it's not gonna vary. You know what I mean? Not out here anyway. People will ask me often, Alan, when is the best time to test your soil? And the answer is any time that you can get to it, that it's not frozen. And also the second caveat is anytime when you have not fertilized with NPK or micronutrients within the previous 45 days. So if you haven't fertilized in the previous 45 days and your soil isn't frozen, you can get to it, then you can test. So now's a great time to test. So you're all set for next year. The Yard Mastery app, the new plans will be out probably the end of this month, but for sure by the 1st of January, and you'll be good to go by then. Now, another thing people ask is how often do I need to test? And the answer is every 4 years, 3-4 years is fine. I mean, I'd love to sell you a soil test every year. And if you're somebody that wants to get that crazy with it, please go ahead, but your soil isn't gonna change that much. I think there's a little misconception about what a soil test is. When you test your soil, what you're doing is you are testing to find out what the baseline nutrients are in your soil, what currently exists in your soil, what's already there, and then you are going to supplement what it's missing, right? Think of like a blood test. Your doctor takes your blood and they find out, oh, you're low in iron or you're low in vitamin D. And so what do? They prescribe a supplement for you, or they tell you to change your diet. Now with your soil, nutrients don't stick in the soil. That doesn't happen, right? Your lawn will use up what you put down and the rest it's just gone. It just doesn't stick, right? Your soil is what it is. Now, some will stick, some will hold, but for the most part, they don't, especially when it comes to like nitrogen and stuff like that. So your soil's not you're not building nutrients. All you're doing is you're getting a baseline and you're supplementing on top. So your soil is not going to change that much over several years. Now, the only thing that you would retest is if you're trying to move your pH, then you could test every year or every 2 years. But other than that, your baseline soil, it's not going to change. You're kind of stuck with what it is, love the one you're with kind of deal. That's where it does vary from a blood test, because with a blood test, you can change your diet to change your baseline of your blood, but you can't do that with your soil. It is what it is, and by testing, you know what it's lacking and what it already has, and then you supplement the middles. So that's why you don't need to test every year, because it's just not going to change, because nutrients don't necessarily stick in the soil. So, but if you haven't tested yet and you'd like one of our custom plans, we got them right here. I mean, I've got a full video I'll give you. I made it look overly simple, but that's because I have bare dirt here that I can get to. But I'll link a video where I show you how to step-by-step do this and get everything all in there and get it sent off. So this is going to get sent off, and we'll look at the results here maybe in the next video or in the next couple 2-3 weeks. All right, y'all. Well, I hope you learned a little bit of something from that. And I just enjoyed a glorious mow. I tell you what, I can't show you, but you can kind of see it right there. I got a little secret something coming up here for you on December 15th. So that'll be kind of fun. Now today what we're going to do is we're actually going to head out to the land a little bit later, and we're going to review this really cool headset that I got that's like noise canceling and does all kind of cool stuff. We're going to talk about the DR brush mower. I'm going to walk you through how that works and what I think about it and how I've been using it. But before we do that, I did want to give you some straight up lawn tips here. And the first one is going to be on fungicides, and then we're going to have a little bit of a blast from the past. Before we get into that blast from the past, oh wait, sorry, I can't show you that yet. Okay, now we can talk. So before we get into the blast from the past, I wanted to just give you an update on the lawn here. This is the Viridian St. Augustine grass, also called Provista in Texas. And it's obviously super green. You can see over there. That's what most lawns in the neighborhood look like. You can see they're all going dormant now. Again, this is genetically modified to be deeper, darker green. And then there is the Floratam over there. It's also green, but not as green. Now we'll talk about this in a minute. So I just think the Floratam, though, it just needs a little bit of fertilizer is all it needs. Now that spot right there is a spot that's been dry, but I also think there's some disease in there. I think it's a little bit of both, but for sure it's been dry because I found a broken sprinkler head right here that was just sitting there pointing one way. So that dried out, and then I think what happened was it allowed the disease, the large patch, to take hold, because normally the grass can just grow through. It gets a little bit of damage, it grows through, get a little bit of damage, it grows through, although very slow this time of year. But that didn't happen right there because there wasn't enough water. So either way, we're going to spray some fungicide today, and then go back over here to the Viridian. And I actually do have some large patch just starting right there. You can barely see it, but it is just starting, and that's why it is very important to do your second application of fungicide. If you get large patch disease in your lawn, the spores are in the soil already. I've been challenged with large patch in this lawn ever since I moved in from the very first year. So a lot of times people will blame themselves. Somebody will say, well, you fertilize too much, you do this, you do... No, the spores are in the soil. It's just the thing. It's like if somebody gets sick, you don't blame them for getting sick. Now there might be things that they do to contribute to make the sickness worse, like not putting down your preventative fungicides, right? That could happen. Not feeding the lawn properly. See, that's another mistake people make, is they get large patch in the lawn and they read some university website or somebody told them on Reddit, oh, you gotta stop using nitrogen when you get large patch because that causes flushes of growth and that makes the disease worse. And that's not actually true. It is true that flushes of growth can make the disease worse because a flush of growth gives new fleshy plant for the disease to continue moving onto and spreading onto. However, we're in the winter right now. There are no flushes of growth. Those don't happen in the winter. You know, you're mowing every, what, 10, 12 days? I don't care how much nitrogen you put down, it's not gonna flush growth. So learn how to read the university website or stop listening to people on Reddit and understand that if you stop feeding completely, if you get large patch, now what? Now what is your lawn going to use to be able to regrow? Again, this is Florida. We're year-round here. I'll give you a link to the Florida Winter Guide. If your lawn goes dormant, none of this is going to matter. You're just going to stop and you're just going to wait till spring. But my lawn is still growing. I'm still mowing. That means I should still be throwing. And I can throw as much nitrogen as I want because I want the grass to have an opportunity to grow through the damage. That's also why I'm applying disease control right now, not only to prevent it from going to the rest of the lawn or spreading it all, but also to stop the disease that is active in the couple 2 tree spots I have. And then I'll feed it with fertilizer so that it can regrow, because that's what our grasses do. That's what St. Augustine grass does. It regenerates, it regrows. And so that's what we're gonna do today. And I'm just gonna use up fungicides that I have on hand. So if you wanna do a little pinch and zoom, you'll see the blast from the past right there, which we'll get into in a second. But let's first talk about the fungicides I'm using. So I'm just gonna use up stuff that I have in stock, because there's no sense in buying new fungicides when you have fungicide sitting. Now, the number one fungicide that you want to use is azoxystrobin. I happen to have the liquid concentrate right here. This is a strobilurin fungicide. This is really going to be the best for large patch, and so that's why I almost always have azoxystrobin in there. If you want to get a granular, you can just get Scott's Disease X at the store. It's azoxystrobin. It's the exact same stuff. People go, you need a professional formulation. No, you don't. You can go to Scott's, you can go to Home Depot or Lowe's or Ace and get Scott's Disease X. It is literally the same exact granular that the pros are using, exactly the same. So that's what I'm using there, azoxy right there. And then I got this Clary's, is it still called Clary's? New Farm, 3336F. Now this is mainly used for gray leaf spot. That's what this is. This is really good for gray leaf spot, but it is also labeled for large patch. And since I have it on hand, I don't want it to go bad. I want to use it up over by there. I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to use this. Now the reason I'm using two, these are two different modes of action. I'll put the group numbers on the screen right now. The modes of action are classified as groups. And so the reason you use two modes of action is a mode of action is how does the chemical, how does it stop the disease or kill the disease or squelch or thwart the disease? How does it do it? That's the mode of action. So this is two different modes of action. The reason you do that is because with diseases, they can actually become resistant to the chemicals. And so if you keep using the same one over and over and over and over again, they adapt and they overcome. So by switching up your chemistries or using two different chemistries, if they're less likely to overcome one and definitely less likely to overcome both. So that's why we're using these two fungicides today. So as always, I'm going to fill up my sprayer with about 1 gallon of water to start with. You're going to see I'm going to tank mix in some other stuff here, so don't give up yet. Now I'll put the rates. I'm doing 4,000 square feet, so I will put the rates for you in the description below on this. Now we got our clearies. Tree 6F. Okay, next, I'm gonna put down some Moisture Max. This is the dry season. If you watch the news, you'll hear all about the drought that we're in, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's the dry season, right? So Moisture Max is perfect for this. It's gonna help sequester moisture in the soil. It's gonna help the watering that you are able to do to go further, that kind of thing. So put this in, 6 ounces, 1,000 on this. Now, Moisture Max doesn't have to be watered in immediately. You might ask, am I gonna water this fungicide in? I'm actually not gonna do like the full 1/2 inch of water for the fungicide. I'm actually only gonna water maybe for just a few minutes just to kind of get it activated into the thatch layer. And that's one of the great things about Moisture Max. With the previous product we used, you had to water it in immediately. In fact, you had to spray it on a wet lawn or it would dry and it just wouldn't work in a lot of cases. With Moisture Max, you don't have to water this in if you don't want to until the next day, 2 days later, 3 days later, because there's extra penetrants in here that help. So we're gonna go ahead and give the lawn a little bit of water right after because of the fungicide, and it'll start the Moisture Max, and then my normal watering will go off, my normal irrigation will go off like tomorrow or the next day, and that'll water the rest in. So nice to have that flexibility. Okay, next I talked about nitrogen. I'm putting down in charge. Now normally I would just use spoon juice, but I need a little bit more nitrogen right now because I really want to kick the lawn into gear. I want it to get darker green too, because let's be honest, that's really what it's all about, right? But on top of that, I do want some nice growth as much as I can give it. This has foliar absorption, so this is going to get in very quickly. All the foliar absorption happens within the first few minutes, so again, nothing to worry about there, watering it in or not. But we're gonna put this down, and what am I gonna put this down at? It's 16 to 24 ounces per 1,000. I'm gonna go a little bit lighter than that. That's one thing, you can always back these down. This is just a straight nitrogen product. And turn the lawn as green as anything on the market. And the nice thing about it is it's not $65 a gallon, so it's a lot cheaper than that. And again, foliar absorption turns things green right away. Of course, we're in the winter now, so you're not gonna see quite as fast results, but I'm gonna dial it back. I'm gonna do 8 ounces per 1,000. Products that say 16 to 24, you can always dial them back. Nobody's gonna send you to hell for that. So there we go, and that'll be plenty. You see, I get all this mixed together. That's one of the nice things about spraying out of a backpack, is all this stuff can be mixed together. None of it's gonna interfere with itself. And again, the in charge, normally, you know, you let it sit for 15, 20 minutes, and then if it waters in or it doesn't matter. So once again, the fungicides, we want to get a little bit of water on those. When I say a little bit, that's a technical term, just to kind of push the fungicide down into the thatch layer. And that little bit of water will also do well to help the Moisture Max get started, and it won't hurt the in charge because I'll wait 20 minutes before I do all that. So hopefully that was as clear as mud. And if it confused you, well, that's just part of watching the Lawn Care Nut channel, you know? The truth about that is you're not going to do anything wrong. None of this is going to hurt anything. That's really what I'm talking about here. So don't be scared, right? Get out there, throw her down, and hope for the best. Because that's how we do what we do. What we do here is go back, 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 back. Hey, look there, the sun is out. So, okay, let's talk now about this blast from the past, because I know some of you are going to enjoy this. So how many of you remember the Carbon X line? This is one of those. This is called X Soil. I actually have about 20 bags of this in my storage that have been sitting there. It's dry. We're going to put it down here in a minute. But the big thing here was Carbon X. I don't know if you guys remember that. Carbon X was actually the big fertilizer in this line. I think it was a 2404. Either way, it was the base. This is the base of it. It was a biochar base. It was the chickens would poop on this biochar. The biochar would absorb the chicken poop. That was the base layer, and then they would stack on nitrogen or potassium on top of that. Carbon X was 24% nitrogen. The base, I think, is like a 335 or something like that. But anyway, those of you that have been around in the community a long time remember that. Guess what year it was. Don't go Google it. Don't go look it up. What year was it that we started releasing these products? Yeah, it was 2019. It's pre-COVID. I don't know if you guys do that or not, but I think of things like pre or post-COVID or during COVID, pan-COVID. Anyway, it was pre-COVID, 2019. That's what we released. Now, this is the X Soil. This is basically just the base layer of that stuff. There was another one called X Green that was like what was it, an 808, I think. There was a few different ones that we released with this company that was called Carbon Earth. And this is the base, the soil amendment. This is just the chicken poop. This is just the biochar that the chickens have pooped on. So let's go through and look at it. So you can see there, soil amending ingredients, 69%. So that's the biochar. Composted poultry manure, that's on top, 30%. And then, I don't know, 1% carbon, but that's it right there. Granular soil amendment infused with enzymatic hydrolysis derived peptides. Hey, that's nice. My natural products that I sell now have peptides in them. But biochar, don't have any biochar stuff. That's the thing about it, is I learned a lot of lessons from this. This company went out of business, and that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned. I've learned so many lessons over the last 6 years in business, let me tell you. I could write a whole book. But one of the lessons I learned was, if you're going to start marketing a product, especially when you're someone like me that has an audience that you're going to market it to and put your name behind, you have to make sure that you can have a solid source of that product. So literally, I created the market in the DIY space for biochar, and then this company went out of business, and I no longer had a biochar product, but everybody wanted biochar. And there's like a 3 billion company that stepped in with their paid influencer, created a biochar product, and now they've sold hundreds of thousands of bags. Good on them, because I created the demand, then I created a hole in the market, and they filled the hole. So yeah, that's what I learned. So now I only go into business with companies that are, that I know are going to be around for a while and be able to support what I'm doing. You'll also notice that I pretty much only put the name Yard Mastery on products anymore. I don't sell other people's brands anymore, because I build their brand and then they control it. They can walk away, they can do what they want. In one case, somebody used my numbers to pad their number. It just gets bad. So I've learned that lesson too, is that I only sell products that are under my name, that I've created the formulations that I now can take and get filled anywhere. I can get those taken care of anywhere. I don't just have to rely on one single supplier that if they go out of business, I'm out of business too. And again, that's just, that's how business works, and that's some of the stuff I've learned. So here we go. Let's open this stuff up and let's take a look at it. There it is. Oh yeah, I recognize that smell. It doesn't stink. It's got a little bit of a pungent smell to it, but not bad. But you can see there's like twigs and all kinds of stuff in here, because this was, like I said, sat under chicken houses, and the chickens poop. I'm putting my hands in it. Nah, but it's been treated. They ran it through ovens or something. I don't know. I don't know what they did, but they did something to turn it into this ability to spread here. So pretty cool stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it down now. And we do have 20 bags left, like I said. Well, I told you in the last video that I'm actually starting a new company, and we're going to be running that out of the Yard Mastery warehouse here in Bradenton and Lakewood Ranch over by there. And when we do that, we're going to do the first run of that new product sometime in January. And when we do that, I'm going to hold an open house and let you guys come by. And so what we're going to do is, we got a bunch of broken bags in the warehouse from all of our products, broken bottles, stuff that we can't sell, returns. But then I'm also put these 20 bags out, and what we're going to do is we're going to sell those. But what we're going to do is, you're going to just make donations that we're going to donate to the local 4-H or FFA or both. And so we'll have those 20 bags there, so you can come, and if you want a bag, you can make a donation to the FFA 4-H and get yourself a bag of the old X Soil over there. Maybe you sell it on eBay. Maybe you make a couple, $2-3. Who knows? I don't know if there's still a demand for this stuff or not. But it is good memories, and it was a good time. It was my first year of Yard Mastery, my first year in business. And like I said, I learned so many things. I've learned a whole bunch of things over the years. But it also taught me that when you own a business and you're the leader of the business unit, it's up to you to solve problems. And this was a pretty big problem when we lost our fertilizer supplier and I had to retool everything. But it gave me confidence in myself, because I was able to do that. And then we created the line that we have today with Flagship and Stress Blend and all of those. And those have been infinitesimally more successful, and are actually easier to make and can be sourced pretty much anywhere. So again, lessons learned. But the main thing was, I learned that as a business owner, business leader, I am going to be able to overcome problems. And so the next time problems come, they don't seem as hard, because I've solved problems that were bigger or the same size. I hope you get what I'm saying. So those of you that go into business, you'll know what I mean, or that are in business, you know what I mean. As the ultimate leader, you're the one that's the main problem solver. And when you have the confidence to solve those problems, it helps you solve them even better. Womp womp. I found out my spreader's broken. This is what happens in the wintertime. Stuff sits and you don't know, and yeah, so drive wheel broke, something. I don't know. I don't have time to fix it now. I got to go edit this video. It's Sunday. It's getting late. So, you know what I think? Maybe this is a sign. Huh? Yeah, it's just kind of matches up with those business lessons I was talking about. Don't revisit the past, Alan Hain. Only look to the future. So, anyway, we'll get that fixed another time, and I don't know, we'll give the X soil to, I don't know what we'll do with it. Okay, well, I guess that's enough playing around out here. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I did get out to the land this week to do some work, and I was able to review the DR brush mower, so let's get out there and take a look now. All right, y'all, so it's another work day for me out here. Figure I'd bring you along with me. I always try to bring you sunlight, but for right now, we're mostly over cloud skies, but I know the sunshine's gonna come out. But for now, I'm not too upset about it. It's about 11 in the morning. Oh, I forgot my watch. It's about 11 in the morning, and it's a little cooler right now. So we're still getting up into the 80s here in Florida, this part of Florida anyway, so it's kind of nice to have a little bit of overcast right now, but kind of cool. Some cool things I'm working on today. Check out this setup right here. We're gonna talk about this. Before I do that though, I don't know if you guys know, but I have the Ego Nexus here. Have you ever seen one of these? This thing is really cool. This is actually what I've been using to get power out here, besides my generator in there, but this is what I've been using to do most of my powered things. So for example, I have my Starlink on it right now, so I have full internet out here. I'm charging a battery for a camera on there. You can see right here, it's got traditional USBs. There's no USB-Cs, the new ones on there, but you can always just put an adapter on one of these or put an adapter here. But you have 3 regular plugs, and then of course I put a power strip on it, mainly because there's this little guard right here. These are fans or something under here. There's this guard, so if you have anything that's square, you can't really plug it in because of that. So I always bring a power strip anyway to run everything off of. So anyway, that's what I've been using right there to mainly give me my electricity that I need. All right, now, so let's get on to the next thing. So this is a cool little headset right here. It's called QHR. So these guys reached out to me and they asked me if I'd do a demo. They're actually going into a Kickstarter, I think. And I was like, you know, this is kind of cool, something I could use. I think this comes from aviation mostly. It looks like an aviation type headset, as you can see. But what there's a bunch of different uses for it. The idea is that if you're in an industrial setting, you can put this on and you'll have noise canceling, right, to save your ears. But then it's got all this technology built in so that you can communicate. You know, they have radios that you can use. They sent me a couple different things. Or you can use Bluetooth. You can just Bluetooth your phone in here and listen to music. You can Bluetooth your phone in here and talk through it. You can do a lot of different things, but the idea is that your ear protection, but then you have a noise canceling mic here so you can talk on the phone and communicate. You know, so say you work in an industrial place that has a lot of loud machinery around, but you need to be able to communicate either over the phone or talk to your team or whatever. This is the headset you use for that. Now they set up a special one. So for me, the setup is for being a creator. And the idea is that I can talk while I'm on my loud machinery, like my tractor, or we're actually gonna test it with using the DR brush mower today, which is super loud. And what I can do is I put my GoPro on this hat. They made this for me, it's pretty cool. They made this specifically for me to demo. Again, this is a new company, a startup, you know, they're kind of going through rounds of raising money and stuff. And I like to support that kind of stuff. So they got this right here. Oops, I gotta put on the special battery door, hold on a second. So the idea for me is that, batteries, okay. Oh man, I hope I brought my batteries. Okay, so I got all the way out here. This is 45 minutes from my house, and I didn't bring the GoPro batteries. So, well, this is how it is when you're learning new stuff. So I'm gonna go back to the house, do a tight turnaround, and get the batteries, because I need to get this done, and I need to work out here today. I got a bunch of things. I got a commitment to this company, so I wanna do this for them, and I got work to do too. So, all right, let's just get to it. All right, well, I am back now and the sun is out, so that's nice. And there's actually a small amount of rain coming down, like a small mist. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. And there's also an angry squirrel somewhere back there I can hear making noise. So anyway, I'm back now. So, all right, let's get into this. Let me show you this headset, this Bluetooth wireless headset that's also noise canceling and does all this cool stuff. And again, for me, this is about being able to talk and commentate and give you commentary while I'm on a noisy machine. There's the GoPro batteries. By the way, these are aftermarket because I have a love-hate relationship with GoPro, big time, and I think anybody that uses GoPro does. But I bought 2 GoPros, and about 3 months after I bought them, the batteries just wouldn't take a charge anymore. So I bought these aftermarket ones, which don't last as long, but at least they take a charge. they're reliable. Comment below if you have a love-hate relationship with GoPro like I do. All right, well, I think that's everything I need. So once again, let me just show you how this works. I'll bring you down here. Okay, so these are the wireless headphones right here. And these are noise canceling. You can Bluetooth into these with your phone. Like I said, nice mic here, noise canceling. And then there's all kinds of stuff that goes on in here that helps to cut out the background noise, but also to accentuate your voice. And so for me, they made this little setup light right here. And so what happens is we got to put the battery into the GoPro now. And then they got a GoPro mount on the hat here. So this goes on here like that. And I've actually used this. I've tested it. I tested it the other day a little bit, but ran into some hiccups where this kept coming unplugged. So lesson learned, I recorded a whole day's worth of work with this unplugged. So, but that's just part of finding new, learning a new setup, a new workflow. You're gonna have issues like that. So now I know that I gotta triple check this. So that goes in there like that. So now what I'll get is when I talk into here, the audio will be recorded into the GoPro. So that's kind of the idea of how that works. Now I'm gonna turn them on. Yeah, it's got like this British voice. It goes, headset on. You're not gonna be able to hear that, but I can hear it. Now that the GoPro's on, you should actually be able to hear my voice through this and into the GoPro. That's what you should hear. Now that the GoPro's on, you should actually be able to hear my voice through this and into the GoPro. That's what you should hear. They've got a lot of different things they've thought about. I'll give you a link to their website below. But for now, let's go test the noise canceling. And let's do a little bit of work with the DR brush mower here. And then as we do that, I will talk about some of the things I like about it, what I've learned about it. Choke it. Oh, yeah. All right. Here we go. Let's get this thing going. So you got three. The way this works is you got 3 gears, a neutral and a reverse. This is your drive, so it's in reverse right now. See, so it's going to go backwards. There's gear 1, forward. Gear 2, a little faster. Gear 3, faster. That's basically it. So it's real simple that way. I usually go in the fastest mode, which is 3. And then obviously you got your throttle right there. And then this is your PTO. You'll see when I turn it on, it doesn't get real loud. By the way, in order for the PTO to go, you got to have this red lever down. Here we go. Now the PTO is on. You can see the dust coming up. It's not really that much louder. And then this is your drive right here. There are brakes on either side for turning, but I rarely use them. So now out here, most of this I've already cleared the thick stuff. And right now, while I'm talking about the machine, I'm just going to use it almost just like a lawnmower, just to kind of mow down some of this big stuff. And I don't know if you can tell or not, but see, it's not that loud. It doesn't have the loudness of a lawnmower. So, but again, you're probably getting a lot of noise canceling through the headset, but anyway, it just doesn't sound like a lawnmower, really. You can't hardly tell that the blade's even spinning. All right, so I'm to a dead end now. So now I just go into reverse here and go on back. Now you can turn it. You see these on the side, these are brakes. And what this brake will do is stop that wheel from turning, and this brake on this side will stop that wheel from turning. So if I want to turn left, I can just depress this brake here, and then we'll go into mode 1, and then I just hit drive, and you see it turns, right? Because it's got the brake on this side. So that's how easy it turns. But I found I don't really need that often. I just muscle it around, see, like I'm doing here. See here, I'll just muscle it around like this. It's no big deal. And you can see I'm just using this just like a lawnmower, essentially. Except for the difference is, get back over here in my line. Except for the difference with this is I don't necessarily have to worry about hitting things. You know, if I hit something hard, it'll either go right through it or it'll just stop. But it's not anything that's going to get hurt, because this is a single-purpose machine. Now, they do make attachments for it that you can get. You know, I think there's a snow thrower attachment, maybe something else. I don't know. They have other attachments. But for the most part, it's a single-purpose machine. It's a 20 horsepower engine on here that turns one single blade. That's it. Well, and the 20 horsepower also drives the unit forward. But it's really just about turning that blade under there. And it's got 20 horsepower. Think about that later, because we're going to talk about tractors later and some of the 25 horsepower super subcompact tractors that are available out there and why I didn't choose one of those. But for the most part, this 20 horsepower that's in this, it is plenty of power to get through some thick stuff. Now again, I'm not going through thick stuff here. I'm just doing some basic maintenance out here right now on the areas that have already been cut. But I will go through some thick stuff here in a minute, kind of show you. But the long and the short of it is, now this is the what they call the 30 Pro. I'll put it on the screen. I think I paid $3,700 for this. So this is not a cheap machine. This is a commercial type machine. This is not your $700-800 mower. But like I said, you don't have to worry about this thing. You don't have to worry about breaking it. Now you did see, I had some issues, some struggles with getting the blade off, but that's just because, remember that? I don't know if you guys remember that video from a few weeks ago. If not, go watch it. Watch me struggle. But big learning experience for me. But the idea was I had the wrong tools. So that's just part of it. When you get new equipment, you need to learn the tools that it takes to maintenance that equipment. And I knew that was all part of the learning curve here. So I get frustrated or whatever. It's things I expect, because this is all brand new to me. All new equipment, all new jobs with the equipment. I've never done any type of brush cutting before, brush clearing, land management. That's what this is. This is land management. I've never done any of this type of stuff before, so all new for me. Boom, there you go. See, I hit something there. Not even anything to worry about. Just keep on going. Like I said, once we get through this little bit here, because again, this is just maintenance here, I'll take you through some thicker stuff and show you what this thing can really do. Alright, I think what we'll do now is we'll go through some of this thicker stuff. Let me kind of show you. I'm pretty sure there's dead limbs in here and stuff. Anywhere you see an area where I didn't cut, it's because I couldn't get through whatever's there, and it's probably something that's some buried limbs or something, but I'm pretty sure I can get through some of this, so let's give it, see, I'm always finding stuff here, just buried, but that's what the tractor's for. Alright, so let's go through some thicker stuff here, show you how that works. See, just cuts it right off. Now you don't have any height settings on this, just one height, so the torpedo grass really grabs onto it too. I don't know if you can see that. The torpedo grass will wrap around the wheels. It's nasty. You guys see it in your lawns, but when it gets, look at it, see it wrapping around there? Look at that. When it gets overgrown, it literally eats stuff. In the case here, it's covered up a bunch of old logs or something that's under there. Yes, there's something right there. So nasty. Something big and nasty. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, big old log. See that? That torpedo grass just ate that thing. There's probably more of it under here. Yeah, I can feel there's a whole bunch more of it under here. All right, let's go back here a little bit. Show you a little bit about what we got going back here. Now, see, all this was all cleared out a long time ago with this brush mower here. We're in the dry season now, so it's mostly not growing back. But we can cut through here, start reclaiming some of this land in the middle here, because as we get back here, what you're going to see is the backside of my property here. My neighbor's doing a whole lot of work over here. He's a cattle rancher, so he's getting this field over here prepared for his cattle. And he put up this fence. It's right on our property line, so we share it. So that's all my property over there. And this is my neighbor over here. And we've got a brand new fence that goes along here. And I'll have to keep this maintained. There's no grass or anything growing in here now, but there will be, again, once the rainy season starts up again. But see, there is some grass growing up through here, so I got to make sure that I keep this cut down back here. Can't let this grass grow up on this fence. You gotta keep like a buffer zone. You gotta have a buffer zone. And you'll see that buffer zone goes all the way down. Look at this, all the way down through here, see? So I'm gonna make a couple passes through here now and just get this all cut down so I don't have to come back here later. There's not much green in here, but there's a little bit. Might as well just get after it now, and that way I don't have to do it later. Oh no. Well, I lost my iPhone. It fell right off of here. I have to do the old find my iPhone was on this. Oh, yeah, I'm going to probably have to do the find my deal. Crap. All right, well, let's take a break and go do the find my, because iPhone fell right out of the holder. It seems like if it's not one thing, it's another around here. You know what I mean? Oh, there it is right there. All right, so I don't have to do the find my. So we don't have to do that. All right, let's get back to work. Stuck under there. She did not like that. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Well, that'll put a damper in your day. Ow, that's hot. I don't know if you can see that. Some baling wire or something I hit. This must be an old fence right here. All right, well, I guess that proves it right there. Now I get to go and take all that out. That's nasty. Doesn't look like it got too bad. Yeah, it's barbed wire from something. There's old barbed wire all over this property. So doesn't look like it's too bad though. Looks like I got it shut down soon enough. So we'll see. I think I got something I can cut that with. Oh my gosh, the dust out here. There we go. One more obstacle down. Let's get back to doing some cut. All right, that's all I'm going to get to today, but I just cleared all that right there. Again, it's all about reclaiming the land. Can't get any further. This right here, these broken down whatever, I'm told this used to be an outhouse. And you can see I started getting in a little close to it and whacked whatever that is. So we'll dig through there. Maybe we'll find some ancient turds. Who knows, huh? And then over here, there's some citrus, which is kind of cool right here. So not sure what that is. Probably oranges. There's like wild grown oranges here in Florida. So, and then there's some palms in here, some queen palms and stuff. So I think this is, I got to be a little more careful when I get up in here, because I think this is part of where the homesteaders were planting things that used to live here. So I don't want to, you know, I want to see what kind of cool stuff is back in here. There's a fence, little fence right here. So I'll have to be careful there as well. But yeah, once I start getting into this part of the property, I'm going to go mostly by hand, because I'm sure I'll discover some cool plants and stuff that are in here that they planted over the years. So, but that's a good amount of work for today. And again, reclaiming the land, that's what it's all about. And then eventually I'm going to landscape all underneath here and do different things, put swings and I don't know, swings. I don't know. Secret garden. I'm definitely going to build a secret garden out here somewhere. I've always loved that book. And so I'm going to do something like that too. But that's where we're at for today out here at the Lawn Care Nut HQ over by there. All right, y'all, there you go. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Hope you learned a little something. And if you're up north, I hope that sun has brightened your day just a little bit. I did know one of you asked me for a sunset. I used to film sunsets. I saw a comment where somebody asked me to film a sunset. I am planning to get out there and do that. Now that the sun is setting a couple 2-3 hours earlier, I can get out there before I go to bed. So I will do that for you guys at some point here over the next couple 2-3 weeks. As always, thank you so much for watching. Leave me your comments and questions below, and I'll see you in the lawn.